The euro is on a decline again. The pound seems like it's going to follow. Oil just wants to keep going up. The S&P 500 making its normal corrections. The UK 100 or the FTSE 100 making an all-time high. And gold is just doing its normal thing. Hello and welcome to this Bitcoin price analysis video. My name is David Thorne. It is the 2nd of April and it's 7:35 in the morning. As we can see, we've had a little bit of a turbulent ride over the evening time at the night time here in Europe, but that's normal. That's what's expected. But before we jump into the price action, I just want to remind you that I am not a financial advisor. I am not a professional trader. I am literally just a guy sat here looking at the charts based upon his own investments of his own portfolio or his own and his wife's portfolio based upon a long-term period. And we are talking about literally years I'm talking about investing. So these up and down movements for me are of no relevance. I'm more interested in the long-term effect that it has. Now, if this is the first video that you have watched from me, then you'll understand that I just look at the price based upon today and how it's going to go all the way down to what I expect for the rest of the day, looking at the different time frames. And I'm always looking at the market could go up, could go sideways, could go down. So I'm not here trying to give you hopium that the price is going to go to 250k overnight. And I'm not here to be a pessimist to tell you that Bitcoin is going to go to zero. I'm literally just looking at what the price did yesterday and what it could possibly do today. Okay, with that all out the way now, I've just got one final ask from you. Is that I do these videos for free, and it would be really helpful just for a bit of a dopamine effect from me that you give me a like on this video. Or if you do have any feedback or any questions or anything like that, then please feel free to put the comments or your feedback in the comment section below. And if you do feel like you don't want to miss out on any of these videos, please obviously subscribe to me because it really does give me that good feeling and it might help other people to find this video. Now, with all that advertising and stuff out the way, we will just quickly talk about my DJ Thorne trading indicator, and editing David is going to place where you can get that on the screen right now on my GitHub repository. You literally just need to copy and paste that code that I'm showing you and then just paste it in here and then tap the add to chart as well, and then you can see it here. I do have a video on YouTube to talking roughly about it, but you're going to learn as we go through the video roughly what it does anyway. Okay, with that now out the way, let's get started with the price analysis for the 2nd of April. Okay, so as we can see on a monthly level, we're starting the month with a nice red candle, and if we just zoom in, we've kind of nearly got 50% of the movement that we had in March. So maybe just got a little bit more to go, but we're at least like 38-50%. So we can say that we've at least had some form of correction based upon the opening and closing price of March. So let's now jump into the weekly time frame, and we can see here that we have literally completely wiped out all up movement that we had last week already just by Tuesday at 7:39 in the morning. So if anyone wants to argue that we haven't had a correction over time, well, there we go. That is a correction. All the ups from last week completely wiped out. So we don't have to worry about arguing about last week's and it being overbought, because there we go, it has had a correction. Let's now jump into the day's chart. As we can see yesterday, when we talked about yesterday, we were saying that it needed to have a strong movement going up, and we had seen that it had already had a 50% correction based upon the previous day. So, but the price wanted to go down even further, and as we can see it here, it closed on a negative as well. More than 50% of the upside from the previous day was then wiped out. We had some nice lower prices down here. So if you were looking at buying in for the future here, then at least you got it a little bit lower prices. However, if you had waited, you'd got it at an even more of a discount today. And I'm expecting that if you wait today, you probably get a more of a discount tomorrow. So now we've seen that, let's just quickly analyze what we can see here, right? Because this is really important. This is, in my opinion, painting us a quite loud picture now, all right? So the 5, the 8, the 15, and the 50, these are exponential moving averages, okay? And we know, because we can see it, we can see that the price currently for today is lower than the 15 EMA, okay? But we can see the 5 is now kind of nearly going to cross. Now, if it stays this way, then tomorrow the 5 will cross the 8, okay? And where the 8, whether 8 will come near the 15 is another question, but it will more than likely come close to the 15, depending upon how much of a pullback it has today. So we can start to see there is a possible downward motion. Okay, we can see the price anyway, but there's a possible downward motion. Now, my DJ Thorne trading indicator is showing us that there isn't a huge amount of volume right now. And when we see like red candles like this, then we know there's lots of volume. So we would expect to see at least a 50% correction, whether it's the next day or the day after. But you predominantly see a correction on all these red and these dark green candles, okay? So let's just move. Well, what I would expect though, long term, is that a correction says that we want to go at least to the 50, okay? So either the price is going to come down to the 50 or the 50 is going to come across to meet the price, okay? But in my opinion, it looks like maybe we might see some more downside today, and then tomorrow would come down even further. That would bring the 50 up even higher. But I would kind of expect that well, we will see during this video, because normally the price moves between 7:30 and 8 o'clock anyway, so we might see some action today. And here we can see the 5, the 8, and the 15 are all inverted anyway, and the 8 has crossed over. Let's just zoom in a little bit further. The 8 has crossed over the 50 already, so we know that we've got some downward motion. We had a purple candle, so it's not super strong, but it's a little bit more stronger than a grey or a normal red. So it's not quite yet a red, but it's a purple. So we could more than likely see at least, say, 50%, 38% correction on this one candle, because we saw the purple candle here had a full correction on it, an engulfing candle here. So what do we expect from this? Well, as we previously said, we were talking about the price hitting the 50. In this one, I would assume it's going to come down and test the 200. And if it does have strength, then the price will come down and test the 300 or somewhere in between. Well, I would assume it's going to come and test at least this support boundary. And now it can be that this support boundary has moved up a little bit here, but the only time will tell on this as well. So let's keep moving. But there are other areas like here to come and test. So let's say like the 60,000 or 61,000 looks like there's some form of resistance here as well, or some form of support here. So it's looking right that we come down to the 200 here. But right now, this blue candle base is looking like the support for it, because there's been some buying pressure already. But I'm guessing the European stock market and the London stock market will have something to say about that. So let's move to the 1 hour candle, 1 hour time frame, shall we say. Okay, you can see that it's slowing down a little bit now here. And the 5, the 8, and the 15 are all beneath the 50, and they're beneath the 200. And now we are basically closing beneath the 300. So it shows you that we've got a definite moving down action. And the 5, the 8, and the 15, they are spreading apart from each other. You can see they're really close up here, and the angle now of attack going down is getting wider and wider. This goes to show that you've got some form of movement. But it seems here that there's a little bit of an agreement in price between the buyers and the sellers down here, and that they seem to be agreeing upon that around about 62,000 euros is the price currently. Now, whether that is a European agreement or it's just what America or Asia has to say about that later on today is another question. If they are ready to take profits to push it back up, or is London ready to push it back down even further? So let's keep going. Where could we find a place to stop on the hour chart? Well, 59,000 seems to be seems to be a good area to come down to here as at least a target. And then I would say in the range of this candle here, looks like there was some form of support here. But otherwise, I would assume probably here is a target. I'd say this one here. So the first thing that we have to break is this line here, right? Because this is a bottom now that's given, but we know this wick. This wick has been nicely filled at the moment, but we've got another wick here to be filled. So I would guess that over the course of maybe the next hour or 2 hours or whatever, we could, or sorry, 1 hour chart, over the course we could see some sideward action here. I wouldn't expect to see a quick snap back up. I would likelihood to see some more testing of this lower zone, but let's move down to the 30-minute time frame to have a look, a little bit of a deeper dive. So the 30-minute time frame, we can see 5, 8, 15, 50 is all beneath the 300 now, but we haven't seen the 200 cross the 300. So we can still see that there is some form of higher price average here with the 200 above the 300. But we can also see that the curve is kind of slowing. If this is like a cool down period ready for another drop, I would assume we're going to get maybe another drop. But you can see big red candles, they tend to have like a 50% correction. Like a big red candle had a 50% correction. So I would assume that sometime over the course of like say till 4:30, 3:30, we would see prices come back to say 63.2, 63.3, somewhere around here to have the correction. This might be testing the 50 once again, because by that time we'd assume that the 50 has come down to say here. We might see prices come up, test the 50, and if they get sold off, we would expect it to come back down again to test this bottom, which would kind of make a range around here, make a range around here for a little bit of time. And if then the 200 has crossed the 300, we'd expect possibly the price to come and test the 200. And if it can get past that and it has strength, we'd expect it to go up. But if it can't cross and stay across the 200, I'd expect us to start seeing these zones down here tested. But let's move into now the 15-minute time frame. So we can see the price now, the 5 slowly going to a slope of 0. And are we going to get this push up closing above the 8 and then maybe pushing up to the 15? That would then, we've still got these 2 red candles here. I would assume that we're going to get at least a 50% correction on this red candle, and maybe on this one up here. But I would say we're going to come back to 63.1, and then that's, like I said previously, going to test the 50, and it's either then a downwards, sideways or upwards motion. But that will paint the picture of what is going to happen over the coming day, at least half a day, I'd say. Let's move on to the 5-minute time frame. Okay, so we can now see there is starting to be a possible range for the next hour or so, or a couple of hours. And with then the 50% here of this big red candle, we would expect it to come up and test these zones. And we're starting to see the first test of the 50 here. So if the 5-minute time frame can test and go through the 50, we would expect it to then come and test the 200 as well. And obviously we can clearly see that the 200 has broke the 300 on the 5-minute time frame. So we already see downward prices, but that has been since now like 9:35, since yesterday morning and so on. So we would expect to see like here that the prices came down. They tried to test the 50 here, but it got nowhere near it, came back down again. But there was some form of support here, which then gave it the momentum to go back up again over the 200, the 300. But you can see here quite clearly, absolutely clearly, is that there was super support. If we roll back out again, we see the support here. If we draw the line in, we saw the support. Where will we look at it? Let's come back down to there again. When you look at this, you can see the price. Where was it? I think let's just draw the line here. Let's make it a bit bolder. Whoops. Let's come back up and look. Okay, so you can see there that the price tried to come back up again here. It came down to here and got rejected on this green line first of all, approximately, came down and then tried to go above it again, above the 200 and the 300, where they literally just got a super slope of zero here, and then tried to come through it again, just got super rejected. What was that? You know, like the Asia opening time or the market opening, and then just got super rejected and then just plummeted it back down again. So we can see that the buying pressure weakened, but the selling pressure was just too strong, and before you know it, boom, it's going down. So are we going to see that type of movement on maybe this zone here? So we could imagine, just as a speculation, that this could be the next resistance zone to then see further lows. But we can only guess at the moment whether it's going to go up or down, because this is a good enough profit. I mean, we've had like 5, 6, 7, 8% drop over the past couple of days. So there's some good profits for some people to be made here to push the price back up, say 7%, to then dump it back down again. So I would be very reluctant to say that we're going to see prices go down straight away. There is a likelihood of it, but right now we don't see the European market pushing it up massively. These big candles here on the 1 minute time zone. So this could be wait until 8 o'clock. I mean, it's starting to maybe look like it's about to do that pump that we normally get at around 8 o'clock, but we'll see. I would, like I said, I would expect it to come and test these two red small zones first of all, and if it does have strength and it can correct on the 200 and 300, bring the 200 back above the 300, then we'd expect to see this resistance zone tested. And if it can break through, it's got to come back and turn it into a support zone once again, right? A support zone, sorry, to show that it's got buying pressure to send it back up to this one, and it's got to break this one as well. So, but I think that's possibly too much pressure in one day. I personally think the price should come up slowly. Look, 65,000 we're on. It should do this over a course of a couple of days, because if it just went up really fast in one day, it's going to come down really fast in the next day. So I would prefer to see it come up slowly and then retest this and then come back up again and spend the whole week bringing these price back again, rather than just spiking up and spiking back down again. But we know what Bitcoin's like. It can be super volatile at times. So that's now basically my price analysis for today. I just want to make it clear, right, that my philosophy here is long term. Now, if you are still watching my video, then thank you very much, obviously, first of all. But so what is my philosophy? My philosophy here, which is important, I believe, is that this down here is where we, as contrarians, right, we should be buying when everyone else is selling and scared. Okay. Now, this is another time where we need to be contrarians, but we need to be cautious contrarians, okay? We don't want to be like doubting the market. The master is the market, all right? This area here is where the herd, and we should be going with the herd all the time, okay? So when it's going up, we should be pushing with the herd the whole time. And even here, right, this is the herd calling, saying this is what we want. We want some form of euphoria. So even though there's a correction right now, we shouldn't be worried by the correction, because if the herd is saying we want to go higher, this is just people taking profits, and there's other people coming in taking that money off the table. So there's new people coming in, put their money in, and there's old money, smart money, right, selling what they've bought up here at a profit, and people are going to be hoping that it goes up higher, which I do believe it will go up higher, but there needs to be some form of more correction right now. And how can we go with the herd right now? Well, going with the herd shows us that on a daily basis it says it's got a possible correction, but on a monthly basis it's saying we're still kind of going up. On an hourly basis, we should be very cautious about it going back up right now, and it looks more like it's going to go down. So on an hourly basis, we should be going with the herd, say it's going down. On a 30-minute basis, I would say it's still going down as well, because we see the 5, the 8, 15, 50 all beneath it. So on a 30-minute basis, definitely a herd going down. 15-minute basis, everything is underneath it. And we can see downward prices we've got here. I would still say that we're herd going down, but with a touch of cautiousness. And then on a 5-minute basis, well, we can see that it's more than likely going down, but we should be putting on our cautious hats below these zones, right? If it goes below these zones, we should be putting on our cautious hat to thinking, okay, this is going to start coming back up to test previous highs or previous highs. So this is the way that I want to, this is the message that I want to give you, is that this is right now not a buy-in time. Okay, if you want to, let's get rid of some of this rubbish that I've just put on here. Whoops, let's move this. If you want to buy into Bitcoin, right, you've missed this train so far, in my opinion. Right, but there is another train coming very soon, and I believe that you should start buying your ticket around about the 64,541 mark. This is where you should start buying your ticket. Whether or not you should get on the train right there is your decision, but if it hits that point, I would guess that you could possibly get in maybe around like this, because if it comes here, that shows weakness, and it's probably going to come a little bit further, try other support zones, and it might come down to here. This looks like a relatively strong support zone, and if it still has momentum after that, you would expect like a sideways motion like this here to come here. But I would assume that, you know, it's got to come and test this first. It has to come and test that first. It has to test this first, and if it has momentum to the downside, we'd expect it to come here. So there is another train coming, all right? And I'm not a pessimist here to say that the price isn't going to go up. This, in my opinion, is the healthy path up. This, if it goes up, is not the healthy path. Anyway, with that said, thank you very much for watching. A little bit longer than normal video, but hey, that's life, isn't it? Thank you, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Ciao, ciao, and goodbye.